What's good, guys? So I was debating on doing this on a live stream, and I still might do more of it, like a more broader view of it on a live stream. But I was sitting here recording some videos, and I was thinking to myself, I should do a video talking about the 2025 my 2025 fragrance community expectations as far as new releases and stuff like that, and what I actually think is going to happen. So there is a very vast difference between what actually happens and what I want to happen. I want to talk about that today, as well as give you a little bit of an update on my channel. So without further ado, let's get it. What's good, my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Randy, aka Fragrance Dude, back at you. Not doing any whiffing and sniffing today, but talking to you guys a little bit about my channel, an update on the channel, since I have been kind of, I've been back and forth, like in and out since October. So I wanted to give you a little bit of a channel update, as well as talk to you guys about my 2025 fragrance new release expectations and what I actually think is going to happen. But before we get into that, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not already. Hit that like, and then comment below and let me know what are some of the new releases you're expecting to come out, and if there is anything that you would like from my channel, any videos you would like me to see me do, stuff like that. Comment it below. I actually will do those video ideas. Or if there's anything else you would like to see from my channel or something that needs to be fixed, I honestly, I'll take anything from you guys. I like taking hints. Beginning of a new year, new start. But let's get the channel update out of the way real quick. So when it came to October, I was starting to get a little burned out. I'll be honest with you, because I had my air conditioner, my water heater, my furnace, my refrigerator, and a tree fell in my garage. So all of those things died within a month period, and a tree fell and then demolished my garage. So I was dealing with all of that, making a channel. I was getting kind of burned out because I do 5 videos a week. I do 7 send in the day posts. I do 2 shorts, 3 shorts a week, and a live stream. And it was just getting way too much. So I kind of just drew it back. Never told you guys I was drawing it back. I was trying to get back into it and I couldn't. But now that all of that's all over, I was only doing like 2 videos a week, if that. I am getting back. Now that we are in a new year, we have all the new releases coming out. You will have 5 videos a week from me again. I will start incorporating shorts in February, maybe a little bit earlier. And then you'll get the 5 send of the day posts and live stream every single week. Usually my live streams are on Monday. So I did want to let you guys know that. That's just pretty much a channel update. So now I would like to get into talking about my expectations for 2025 compared to what actually I think is going to happen. So from like really dating back to like 2010, when the fragrances really started to get really kicked off, and we didn't have just like 4 or 5 different lines of fragrances in stores. They started to really push them out. From there on in until 2022, there was a plethora of great fragrances coming out. I think 2020, 2018, 2021, 2022, they all had like, I'd say 37 to 40 fragrances, designer fragrances released a year. And of those fragrances, you had probably 10 to 12 great ones. And then almost the rest of them were average, like 7 to 7.5, but like wearable and unique, or at least slightly unique. And then you had maybe a few that just really sucked. Even like the bottom feeding style fragrances like the CK1s, they were even coming out and they were bops. Like CK1 Summer Days was just absolutely fantastic. And then we hit 2023 and 2024, and not only are they releasing like 20 more designer fragrances a year, Like last year, I think it was 56 to 60 mainstream designers. When the year before that, it was 42. And the year before that, it was 36. And then 2024, it was like 56 to 60 again. And they were really top heavy. There was like 5, maybe 6 fragrances that honestly wouldn't even have been in the top 5 any of those other years. Like I had a hard time picking my top 5 for 2024 because honestly, if you put that in 2021 or 2022, they wouldn't even be in my top probably 10. And that was the issue, is that it was super top heavy and all of the rest of them were super redundant to either older fragrances or to each other. We were getting releases that literally like back to back to back. It's like, were they perfumed in the same perfumery? I honestly have no idea. Like I was mind boggled. All of these bubblegummy fragrances or these sweet tart like citrus fragrances that are all coming out. It's just like, when is it going to end? And when is the uniqueness going to come back into fragrances? I understand there's only a certain amount that you can do. But then there's also lines that were coming out, and they were coming out with strong fragrances year after year after year. And then they just kind of went away from that DNA, like Azara with the Most Wanted line and the Most Wanted Parfum and Wanted by Night. Those were 3 fragrances in a row, and then they had 2 duds. Not like terrible duds, but like just, nah. I honestly don't get it. There was one house that just came out of the middle of the woodwork with Hugo Boss that's just destroying pretty much every other brand right now because they decided to try something unique. Instead of having that apple pie like DNA that was obviously getting worn out on people, which I still really like, they came out with this incense and patchouli DNA, which they are starting to make more redundant now that they came out with Absolute. But even then, they were trying something different. They were expanding on the scent line. And I hope that they continue to expand, but I want to see more of that. I want to see less of the Parfum Elixir Absolute, and I want to see more of the EDT. I'll be honest with you. I would rather see like Dolce & Gabbana just came out with Devotion Pour Homme. That's a brand new line for men, and it's unique. It's the coffee fragrance, which there's no other coffee fragrances right now in rotation in those stores. And so I would rather see, instead of Bleu de Chanel coming out with a fucking elixir, like so many people say, I can't wait for that. It's just going to smell like Bleu de Chanel. And unless they do a Sauvage thing where they just completely went away from that DNA completely, which I don't see Chanel doing that. Unless they did that, it's like, but even so, instead of Bleu de Chanel, why don't you go and make a different lineup, like Rouge de Chanel, like Red de Chanel. Rouge de Chanel, start your own line, a new line. People will be super psyched, not just in fragrance community, but outside of it. And then bring that new DNA to that, and then you'll have a new line that you can expand on. We need more of that. And like Versace came out with Versace Eros Energy, which was a fresh release. It had nothing to do with Eros. Why did they just not make that an EDT and then expand upon it on a line? Like Coach did something last 2 years ago with Coach Open Road. I was sure we were going to get Coach Open Road EDP last year, but we never did. That was something new. And I just am sick and tired of them all coming out with all these bubblegum fragrances, which, I mean, they're wearable, and I like designer fragrances, but somebody who likes designer fragrances as much as me, that to the point where people actually say, like, you need to expand, they're so generic, blah, 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 blah. I still like niche fragrances and indie fragrances as well, but I like to smell great. And so if I'm saying that there's a shit ton of redundancy coming out, there's a shit ton of redundancy coming out. And all these brands, I knew it was going to happen. As soon as Sauvage Elixir came out, I knew at some point in time, Elixir was going to become a fad. Parfum Intense was going to become a fad. And you know what the thing is that Parfum Intense, most of them are eau de parfums. Elixirs, most of them are actually EDPs. Like, it's just a fad. And so I'm sick and tired. I just want these brands to stop also discontinuing their best fragrances. That's one thing. But I'm really hoping, again, for new lines. I want this to be the year of the new line. We're starting hot with Dolce & Gabbana Devotion. Honestly, guys, go try that. It's a nice coffee lemon fragrance. Some people won't like the opening, but I can tell you it's a nice roasted coffee fragrance. If you like coffee, which I do. There's a nice uniqueness to having a new line, new DNA that you haven't experienced before. Whether it's good or bad, let us decide. And I can tell you, I hope this is the year of the new line, the year of the EDT. That is what I want this year to be. I do not want Elixir, 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 Elixir. And it seems like we already have 6. We have Carolina Herrera, Bad Boy Elixir, Carolina Herrera, 212 VIP Black Elixir, Jean Paul Gaultier, Elixir Absolute, Azara Forever Wanted Elixir, and there's one more Elixir. I can't think of the name, but there's 6 Elixirs, and we're 10 days and 15 days into January. It's getting ridiculous. And I also don't want to see a freaking 100 fragrances again this year. As a reviewer, that's great. You can pick and choose for your content. But honestly, 2022 and 2023, I bought every single new release. Every single one. It's just, I couldn't in 2024. I bought half of them, and that was still almost as much as 2022 was. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to release back to back to back. And some brands were releasing 3 fragrances, like, stop. That's just my opinion. Oh, the other one's the Aqua de Jo Elixir. And I've heard that one's becoming like super redundant too. So I honestly don't know. I also want clones to just shut the hell up and slow down. I know a lot of people out there love clones and stuff like that. I will still, to this day, I have tried 500-600 clones, whether in decant or bottle. There's maybe 1 or 2. And don't ask me which ones. I'm just bullshitting here. Maybe 1 or 2 clones that actually stack up to the original, but most don't. The only time that you need to buy a clone is if it's for a discontinued fragrance or a out of your price range fragrance. Don't buy clones for, like, we're getting clones for Azaro Most Wanted, which is like you could buy for $68. Well, we're getting clones for Invictus, which that fragrance runs like $59.99. Versace Eros clones, that Versace Eros runs $40 to $50. Like, why? I don't understand it. The clones, I remember when I started my channel, yes, there was some unknown clones, but for the most part, it was Afnan and Armaf. And they were like the CDNIM line, Milestone, Sillage, and then Al Haramain had Amber Oud Gold and La Venture. Like, that was only like 3 or 4 years ago. It's to the point now where there's millions of clones that it's just, people were coming into my live streams like I'm wearing Al Fuckwad or Fuck It. Like, they're wearing all of those fragrances, and I'm like, I haven't even heard of that. Like, where do you even find these fragrances? And like Rasasi Hawass is now coming out with 2 new fragrances back to back, and that's another elixir. Apparently, the Fire is coming out, smells like Sauvage, and so I want this year again. So I'm just gonna stop beating around the bush. I'm already 10 minutes in, 12, 15 minutes in, whatever. I want this year to really just be the year of the uniqueness, the ones that it seems like these companies are actually not trying to follow trends, and they're just trying to make something that will have longevity in the fragrance community, not just something to appeal to this generation for the next 3 years and then them discontinue it because it's bubblegum sweet. I want something new, and I want it to be continuous. I want it to be the year of the EDT, and I want them to stop after this month with the elixir fad. I want it, but it's not going to. What I think is going to happen is we're going to get a crap ton of elixirs. Most of the shit's going to be redundant, either to something in its own line or to other things out there. And then at the end of the year, I'm hoping I'm wrong, because I have already tried a few fragrances, and people were calling the Dior Homme Parfum 2025 redundant. I don't think it is. We have the new Devotion. We have Gucci Guilty Love, which smells like powdery sweet Smarties. So there is some uniqueness, and I hope they continue on that. But I already know the bulk of these are going to be super redundant. I hope we come with like a new Spice Bomb, like Spice Bomb Sapphire or something like that. But I'm going to let you guys go. I just wanted to come in and clarify, like, just my thoughts on what's coming in 2025. And from a fragrance reviewer's perspective, there's going to be so many fragrances. I'm going to have to pick and choose which one's coming out. I need to kind of filter around the redundancy. So I think you're going to see a lot more from me that is going to be trying it out before I buy it instead of just blind buying things. Unless it's something that I really like Gentleman's Society Ombre, I'm really looking forward to. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are on it. I know I just rambled for a bit there, but I honestly, again, I want something new, and I want it to be continuously new. I want brands to start being creative and stop following trends, and I want the Elixir and the fads to just go out the window and just leave us with EDT, EDP, and Parfum. I mean, if you want to have an Elixir in the line, that's great. Just don't do Elixir Absolute, or have 4 different lines and all 4 of those lines have Elixir. Like, it's getting ridiculous because most of them are EDPs. Or if it is actually an Elixir, do what Sauvage did and make the concentration actually thicker, like 30%, 40%, where you really can't call it a Parfum anymore because the concentration's in a different realm to where it's more of an extrait. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Again, this was just more of a ramble video. I appreciate if you guys hit the like button. But again, let me know anything you guys need. And again, I'll be back with another one. Peace out.